see the headlines about massive lawsuits and market monopolies, but we rarely see the actual mechanics of how they're being fought. This is EconWorks. We look past the talking points to find where law, economics, and markets actually collide. Let's get into it.
You ever get a new computer, open it up, and notice it's already decided which web browser you're going to use first? Well, that's no accident. It's actually a really powerful strategy called software bundling. And believe me, it is right at the heart of some of the biggest antitrust debates in the tech world. Today, we're going to use Microsoft as a kind of case study to unpack how this built-in advantage can really shape an entire industry.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to talk about the huge advantage of just being there from the start. Then we'll see how that visibility quickly turns into people actually using the app. After that, we'll get into the really juicy part, the self-fueling cycle, this feedback loop that locks in that dominance. Then we'll look at what all this means for any potential competitors. And finally, we'll tie it all together and see why regulators are paying so much attention to this stuff.
So let's dive right in with the core idea here. This is all about a company that doesn't just own the stage, but it also controls the main actors performing on it.
I mean, we've all been there, right? You unbox a shiny new laptop, you fire it up, and bam! It's already got their browser, their cloud storage, their whole suite of tools. This isn't just about making things easy for you. It's a very deliberate, strategic move that has massive implications for competition.
You know, there's a name for this that you hear a lot in antitrust circles: operating system integration. It's pretty simple, really. The company that makes the platform, like Windows, also makes the apps for it and puts them right there, front and center. This changes everything. Suddenly, they're not just the referee of the game. They're also the star player on one of the teams.
And we're not just talking about one or two apps. This applies to a whole range of products. You've got web browsers like Microsoft Edge, productivity software, cloud storage like OneDrive, and communication tools like Teams. All of them are just deeply woven into the very fabric of the Windows operating system itself.
Okay, so now we know what this is. Let's look at how that built-in status immediately turns into a gigantic competitive edge. And it all kicks off with one simple thing: visibility. This is the first domino that falls. Just by being pre-installed, an app gets instant, unavoidable visibility. You don't have to go looking for it, it's just there. And for millions and millions of people, that's good enough. Why go searching for an alternative when a perfectly decent one is already on your machine? It just becomes the path of least resistance. And here is the really crucial part. This advantage holds up even when other, maybe even better alternatives are just a couple of clicks away. The psychological power of a default setting is just immense. The built-in app doesn't just get a head start, it's like it starts the race already halfway to the finish line.
And the pressure doesn't just stop with pre-installation. Oh no, the app is set as the default for everything. You might get little pop-ups or helpful reminders from the operating system itself, constantly nudging you toward their products. All these gentle pushes make adopting their app feel almost inevitable.
But that initial user adoption, that's just the spark. Now we get to the real engine that keeps this whole thing running, a powerful, self-reinforcing feedback loop. Right. That first wave of users doesn't just sit there. It creates momentum. It feeds into a cycle that can cement a product's place in the market for years and years, making it incredibly hard for anyone else to even try to catch up.
So here's how this loop works. It's pretty elegant, really. Step 1, the integration gets you a ton of users right out of the gate. Step 2, because you have so many users, other software developers have to make sure their stuff works with your app. That brings in investment and support. And then step 3, now that your app works perfectly with everything else, it becomes even more useful and attractive, which, you guessed it, brings in even more users. And just like that, the cycle starts all over again, only this time it's even stronger.
This is the flywheel effect, classic textbook stuff. More users lead to better compatibility, which in turn leads to more users. And once that wheel starts spinning, it builds up a kind of momentum that is just ridiculously hard for any competitor to stop.
So, if you're the company with the flywheel, this all sounds great. But what does this mean for a new company? Maybe one with a better, more innovative product trying to break into the market. Well, it means they run headfirst into a brick wall.
I mean, just look at the difference. It's night and day. The integrated software is enjoying this wonderful, virtuous cycle of growth and success. But the new entrant, they're trapped in a vicious cycle. They can't get the users without having broad compatibility, but they can't get developers to build that compatibility for them without having a ton of users. It's a classic catch-22.
This image just captures the whole dilemma perfectly, doesn't it? Even if you build something amazing, you're basically just shouting into the wind. Without that initial critical mass of users,
You just can't get the developer support you need to become a real part of the ecosystem. You're stuck on the outside looking in.
And this diagram here, it shows you the grim reality. This is where the road ends for so many would-be competitors. That path from being a new entrant to having limited compatibility is a well-worn path to failure. And what's really important to remember is that it's often not because their product was bad, but because the game itself was tilted from the very beginning.
So let's zoom out for a second and connect all of this to the bigger picture. Because this isn't just some theoretical business school case study. This is a central fight in major antitrust debates that are happening all over the world right now.
This quote from the source material absolutely nails it. What it's saying is that in the software world, the winners and losers aren't always decided by who has the coolest features or the best tech. A lot of the time, the very structure of the platform itself can be the deciding factor.
And this right here is the central issue for regulators. When the owner of the platform is also competing on that same platform, it brings up these huge fundamental questions about what's fair. If the game is tilted from the very start through things like defaults and integration, can we really say the best product is winning?
Which brings us to the really provocative question at the heart of so many of these regulatory battles today. How do we balance a company's right to innovate and build on its own platform with the need for a fair market, where the best ideas, regardless of who makes them, have a chance to succeed? There's no easy answer, but it's the billion-dollar question that tech giants and governments are wrestling with as we speak.
Thanks for watching. For the deep dive economic analysis behind these stories, join us at econworks.com. Subscribe to stay informed on where law and economics meet the market. We'll see you in the next episode.